All right, Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane, writer, filmmaker, comic book man. I'm coming to talk to you about the stories and the origins in my Kickstarter Halloween Wars story, the Legends of Blackjak, that are all in the Kickstarter Horror Streets Fall 2022. And there's two, so the stories are the origin story of Blackjak, who is the Black Headless Horseman, and the Twa Man, who is the Black Leprechaun. Now, these two stories are damn near 10 years apart. Not 10 years apart in creation, but 10 years apart in kind of execution, right? So the stories came to me years ago. I tell everybody the story of how I was on a field trip as a substitute teacher in the 90s, taking a group of kids, a Black History Month bus ride, and they to Massachusetts to a free school, and I made up this story of Blackjak. And Blackjak is the headless horseman who is the body of a black kid with the mind of a white person. A spirit occupies this black kid's body, and in the process, he was killed and his head was squashed. So he picked up the pumpkin, and that became his head. And so that's his origin story, and that's the Legend of Blackjak, and that's the first story in Horror Streets. Of course, I didn't tell you how the story's going to go, but in essence, that's who he is, and I've put that out there. But I made this story up the way you will read it in the book to a group of high school kids, and actually, I think some of them might even remember it. I think when I was promoting this before, I think some of them remembered it, but it had to be engaging. It was straight, a cappella, making it up as it go along type story. And I remember one of my friends said that Sister Soldier made up her winter story at her camp that she had with Puffy. And I was like, wow, these little freestyle stories are cool. I worked with comedians and poets, and storytelling is an oral tradition. And so what you'll read is my oral tradition story. So that happened in the 90s. And in the 2000s, I got the comic book buzz. And I started writing a bunch of comic books in 2008, 2009. And I got the idea of doing this comic book. A guy, it was Halloween time, and I had done a comic book convention, and he was like, yeah, let me see, maybe I could do, something for you, and he did, a couple character sketches for me for free. And then I said, you know what, let me scribble out, 10 pages story and see what we could work out. And my Blackjak story was what we was rolling with, and he did a real good job. So shout out to Matt Reynolds. He's definitely getting, he gets credit throughout the book. And so that happened in like 2008, 2009. And he ended up moving, and I didn't see him anymore after he finished that book. So 10 years later, I got the buzz again, and I had already thought of the Halloween Wars story, because I was like, man, this character is too good to just have an origin story. I need to have him be more. I mean, he kills people in his origin story, no doubt. But I wanted him to, engage with somebody. And so I heard of this legend of black people being enslaved in Ireland, or just taken to Ireland. And they were members of the Twa tribe from Botswana area. And I said, wow, this is what black people in Britain believed. They believed that the Twa people were the original leprechauns, and they protected, they knew a lot about nature, and probably protected their minerals. Maybe it was gold, because gold has been valuable for a long time. So maybe it was gold and other things, but I never thought of that. So, I gave my leprechaun dreads and called him the Twa Man, aka the Black Leprechaun, right? And so I decided this would be a good way to introduce this guy, because I didn't want him to be a villain, right? I knew the Twa people was really sacred people. There's small people all over the world, even hobbits are and dwarfs are to be inspired by the small people that people see in the forest, right? All over the world. And they've come out of the forest, so it's not that they're hiding anymore, but they live deep in the woods because they live with nature. And so that inspired me. So I made a black leprechaun, the Twa Man, that is more like a natural Doctor Strange. And I know there's somebody that's more specific to the Twa Man's powers, because the Twa Man is not only a magic man, a man of cosmic powers, he also is able to control nature, right? So that's how I ended up coming up with the Halloween Wars the characters that going up against each other, because the Halloween Wars is Blackjak versus the Twa Man, the Black Headless Horseman versus the Black Leprechaun. And the Headless Horseman has his motives. Remember, he's the mind of a white guy, so he comes from the time of slavery, so he ain't got time for all this integration, all this stuff. Everything is his. And so when he tries to put hands on the Black Leprechaun stuff, the Leprechaun deals with him, and it becomes really cool. And when I thought of them, I knew I was playing with folklore and fairy tale, but I just felt, we had so much fun in the blaxploitation era of film. Why not, continue that into something more of a black over of folklore, right? Because the Headless Horseman is a snatch from the Black Headless Horseman is a snatch from the Headless Horseman, no doubt, right? But the Twa Man is a legitimate black folklore of its own. That mythos is there. I didn't create that. Now I'm telling it in my own version, but it's already there. So bringing the two together is also just me. So again, it's interesting. What do you call it? The Headless Horseman has been public domain for a long time. The legend of the the Black Leprechaun is kind of never been written. There's no story with it, so that's free. So I worked in the public domain area and mixed it with something of folklore, and that's about it. So I wanted to answer that question for people, because people have been asking, and this is a relaunch project. So I don't remember what I said before when I first tried to launch it in 2020. So I'm repeating some of the same stuff, but it's good because there's new people, there's new fans. 6 Kickstarters in, so some of my old Kickstarter supporters, they probably didn't know this, so this is all good. So anyway, check out Halloween Wars and the Legend of Blackjak in Horror Streets Fall 2022. All right, thank you. The link is in here, and I should say normally I make commentary. So this is the Sci-Fi Express Lane. I'm writer Jeff Carroll. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And then, if you want to take it up a notch, make a commentary. I'm not full-time yet, so I don't have a what do you call it? Not a Cash App. Gosh, all these, when you have to pay to make a comment yet. So I'm not up to 1,000 people yet, so I can't necessarily do a live. Maybe they changed the rules. I'll have to check, but right now I'm hovering around 350. So hopefully I'll get to 1,000. I'm not really putting pressure on it. These videos stay up and they get archived. So anyway, check out Horror Streets Fall 2022, baby. The Legend of Blackjak, the Halloween war story facing the Twa Man versus the Black Leprechaun. The Black Leprechaun versus the Black Headless Horseman. Black on black violence at its finest. Peace.